You guys have been asking, what are some of my favorite builds? So we're going to stray a little bit away from meta builds and budget builds for a couple videos, and I'm going to go over builds that I just think are extremely sexy. And we're starting with one of the sexiest. We're going to be going over the SR-25. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Exfil and Hideout. My name is Ghost. If you guys have never been here before, I'm super excited you guys are here. I'm very, very pumped to talk about the Knight's Armament SR-25 because it is one of my favorite weapons IRL. It is one of my favorite weapons in games that have it. This game is no different. And I'm excited because last wipe, the SR-25 was kind of like a worse M1A, but not anymore. It feels really good. It works really good. And it looks really good. Feels really good. Works really... I don't know if I said one of those twice. If I did, I'm going to remove it in the editing. Anyways, you guys should stop by the stream. Before we get into the video, I do stream on Twitch every single day, except for Tuesday. So almost every single day. And 6 a.m. PST, I would love to have you guys by. Make sure you grab some caffeine and come hang out with us. You could ask any of these questions live. We'll run some of the builds that you guys see on YouTube so you guys can see that I'm not just throwing random builds out there, but they actually are viable builds, including some of those very, very budget builds. And if you guys like the content, make sure you smash that like button. It goes a long way for the content. It goes a long way for the channel in general. I really appreciate all the support. We just hit 3,000 subs. And I couldn't be more happy. So thank you guys so much for that. And you guys can always hit the bell if you never want to miss an upload. And make sure you guys do subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into the build. All right, let's start with the preface to the gun build. Number one, this is entirely based on gun builds that I like running. This is not a budget-friendly build. This is not a low-level friendly build. We do have level 4 traders in here, and the price is pretty steep for what you're getting. But if rubles are not no thing to you, then I think you should still consider running this weapon. It is one of the funnest weapons, and it just looks amazing. One of the funnest weapons to run in the game, in my opinion. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Now, I will also say one other thing is that if your accuracy is not the best on semi-automatic weapons, you might want to rethink this build and run something like an M4 or run something like an MDR if you want the same caliber. Now, this is a 7.62 by 51 rifle, which has one of the best rounds in the game, making you be able to use M61, M62, M80, which is still viable. The thing that is going to be changing about this guide, if you guys watch my other gun builds, is I'm not going to go so much into depth because I want to keep the video very short and concise. With that being said, if you guys want me, let me know down in the comments to talk about this ammo type and why you should be using what you're using. Going into that, I'm going to be going over the build. I'm going to be going over the total with Ergo and vertical recoil and price. And we are going to be going over taking it into the hideout, testing it out, and that's going to be pretty much it for this video. So if you guys want a bigger breakdown, if you guys want like a budget version of the SR-25, but it does start at 60K, which is going to be hard to do, kind of like the M4, I'm totally down for that. You guys know that if you guys recommend certain videos for me to do, I usually will do them. With that being said, moving forward, I want to get right into the build. This is not a comparison video. We're not comparing it to the M1A. We're not comparing it to the RSAS. This is by itself just the SR-25. Now, one of the biggest cons to this weapon is the fact that if you're lacking the accuracy, it is semi-automatic, but it does have 20-round magazines as well. It would be nice if there was 30-round PMags for this weapon. Maybe in the future we'll see it, hopefully. But that's one of the biggest things I think that separates people wanting to use the M1A, even though it's heavier and even though the Ergo is lower, because they get to run 30-round mags or even 50-round magazines. So the very first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be running the meta in-slot pistol grip, which is the Narrow Arms Grawl S. You're going to be able to get the Narrow Arms Grawl S for 133 USD from Peacekeeper 4, and it's going to give you that plus 15 Ergo, which is dope because the PSG last wipe was the go-to for the plus 15 Ergo. Now we have something that matches it and is actually cheaper from Trader. So make sure that you guys, there's going to be actually a lot of Peacekeeper. So if you guys want to get this build, just buy like, I don't know, 700, 800 USD before you get this build because there's a lot of Peacekeeper in here. So that's the Narrow Arms. Then for the PMag to give us a little bit of an Ergo boost, and because they look sicker in my opinion, we're going to be going with the Gen 3 20 round PMags. I almost said 30 because I hope for it. And it's going to give us the -3 on the ergonomics. It's going to be 35 USD from Peacekeeper 4. Next, we're going to be going over the buffer tube, which we're going to be running the SI advanced receiver extension buffer tube. So the reason why I'm running the black one is because you guys know, if you buy this normally, it's about $140K from flea market. It's extremely expensive. It's only slightly worse than the red tube, which is even more expensive, but you can get the black tube from Trader, making it a very, very nice addition to any gun that you can run it on when you unlock it. That is going to give us the -4% vertical recoil, the +2 in the ergonomics, and you're gonna be able to get that for only 10,719 rubles, which is pretty insane from Mechanic 4. On top of that, we're gonna be running pretty much the meta in slot, depending on what gun you're running. The MOE carbine stock, gray is actually a little bit more expensive, but I think it looks sick, so I'm running gray. But if you do want a little bit of a cheaper option by a couple dollars, you could run tan or the green one. This is going to be 65 USD from Peacekeeper 3, and it's going to give us that -30% vertical recoil and +8 on the ergonomics. On top of that, make sure you guys add this because it completes the stock. If not, you might as well like run a CTR or something else. That is going to be the Magpul rubber butt pad, and that is going to give us the -3% extra vertical recoil and the +2 ergonomics, making it -33% +10 on the Ergo. And we're going to be able to get that for 46 USD from Peacekeeper 3, which is dope. You're already in that section. It's all good. Grab it there. So the reason why we are going to be running next the Lancer handguard is because the Lancer handguard actually gives us more ergonomics. And when we are running something like an SR-25, a semi-automatic weapon, in general, M1A, RSAS, all of these guns, you want to have that higher ergo. The lower vertical recoil is nice for the reset, but it's not as vital. And essentially, without going into detail on ergonomics, because I have in another video, I explained both the difference between vertical recoil and ergonomics and why on different weapons you want different stats, is it's going to affect your ADS speed. So when you're snapping, it's going to be very, very nice and quick, which is more essential when you don't have an automatic weapon to just mow someone down. You want to be able to get to that head very quick. And then the other thing is when you are using it and waiting, maybe your ADS is longer, whether you're walking and ADSing or maybe you are just holding it for longer, it's going to give you that extra stamina that you're going to need, which some of these weapons like the M1A, for instance, is decently heavier. It doesn't matter as much with the SR-25 because we're looking at 4.7 kilos versus, so it's almost like 2 kilos under the M1A. But anyways, all of that to say, get the Lancer. The Lancer, you're going to be able to get the 12.5 inch for 23,000 rubles. It is actually cheaper on flea market than from Trader, and that is going to be -1% vertical recoil and +10, huge boost on the ergonomics, and it just looks very nice as well. And then on top of that, we're going to be running the 4.1 inch Magpul M-Lock guide. And of course, we're using that to run our foregrip. The Magpul, you're going to be able to get for 1,762 rubles from Mechanic 2. And then we're going to be running pretty much the meta in slot, which is the Fortis Shift Tactical Grip. Now, it doesn't really focus as much on the vertical recoil, but like I said, we're going for more of a high ergo build, so it's perfect for this build. And we're going to be running with +9 ergonomics, -2% on the vertical recoil, and that's going to be 156 USD from Peacekeeper 4. Such a good price for what you're getting. Next, we are going to be slapping on, because we don't slap it on the front, but we're going to be slapping on the back just the Magpul M-Bus. I've talked about this before. If something is fairly inexpensive and you still are going to upgrade the stats on your weapon, just get it. It's kind of weird how like all these stats build up over time and people are just like, oh, it's just a couple stats here and there. But if you have 2 M-Bus sights and you have some of the other things like non-ergonomic hits for your sights and random things, those all build up. So if you have an extra like +5, +3 even on the ergonomics, over time, you're going to notice a difference when you complete your build. So we're going with a Magpul M-Bus. You can do whatever color you want. We're running with the black, and it's going to be +1 on the ergonomics, and you're going to be able to get it for 4,032 rubles from Mechanic 2. So one of the things that really makes this build stand out is, now if you guys want to run suppressed, I usually do run suppressed, but this BMD A3 adapter with the Landtac Dragon is just so nice on this weapon. So that's what we're going to be running. And before we jump into that, I do want to say real quick that you guys see that I run the D-ball, which I run on most of my builds, and I run this setup with the high profile. on most of my loud builds to kind of bring my sight slightly above the muzzle flash, making it easier to see depending on what I'm running. I usually run high profile with the Trijicon RMR on top. RMR right now is my favorite sight. It's completely subjective and up to you guys. I'm not including it in the build because sometimes it throws you guys off when I start including my stuff. Now, I am keeping it on the gun for the sake of stats because I don't like when people put their stats up and they have no magazine, no sight, no laser, and then they're like, these are my stats. But in general, that's not actually how you run them, so your stats end up being different. So they're on the gun so you guys can see the total stats, but run whatever sight you want, run whatever flashlight, IR laser, regular laser that you guys would like. These are the ones that I'm running. And then usually I'll run just the RMR low profile if I'm running suppressed because I don't have to worry about the muzzle flash in the same way. So with that out of the way, we're gonna be running right to the direct thread adapter so that we can start running the BMD attachment on there. And that's gonna be 33 USD from Peacekeeper 3, giving us -1% vertical recoil and -1 ergo, and this is going to build up. Next, we're going to be going with the Landtac Dragon muzzle brake, which is one of the best muzzle brakes in the game, and you're going to be able to get that for 121 USD from Peacekeeper 4. But look at this, -15% vertical recoil and -2 on the ergo. So we take a slight ergo hit, but in comparison to the -15% we're getting for vertical, who cares? It doesn't matter. We're making up for it. Then on top of that, we are going to be running the Landtac device, which goes over that, and that's going to be the BMD, the blast mitigation device, and that is going to be 95 USD from Peacekeeper 3, giving us another additional -8% vertical recoil, and then we're going to take a slight ergo hit as well for the -3, which is good that we're running the Graal S from Narrow Arms because we already have a nice little boost on the ergo. So this complete build, this is it. This is the SR-25 sexy build that I've been running, and it's just so nice. Like I said, the only thing that makes me run the M1A sometimes, depending on where I'm going, it is situational. But if you're accurate and you shoot them in the face, I mean, you're using an M61, right? If you're using M61, you're gonna be solid no matter what. M62, M80, you're gonna have to be a little bit more intentional with where you're shooting people. But either way, this thing is a massive beast of a weapon. This is going to give us 65 ergo and 77 vertical. So 65 is actually the sweet spot for me. I know different people have different preferences, but I usually try to get above 60, but 65 is like, that is just like the snappy sweet spot for me. And then it's going to cost, in total with USD and rubles combined, I combined them for you guys so you don't have to do the math. It's going to be 185,697 rubles. So it's a little bit pricey, but for what you get, I really think that it's going to be worth it. And then we are going to take it into the hideout and we are going to see how this baby runs. Stats will be on the screen. I'm going to take it into edit preset so you guys can look at the build real quick. Get your screenshots, all that good stuff. This is the SR-25 loud build that I have been running. And then we are going to go into the hideout and test this thing out. And then after we come back from the hideout, I will make sure that we put all the stats up, and then there'll be timestamps for everything. So if you guys want to send this to somebody or you want to rewatch it, don't worry about it. You won't have to watch the whole video and have me talk about everything. We're just going to get right into it. So actually, let's go to the hideout. Let's turn on these lights and then go back in. So we have a little bit more. There we go. I don't like the sound, but here we are. Wait a minute. What is this? This is an M1A. I was like, wait a minute. This feels so different. I forgot to add it right here. My bad, guys. All right. There we go. Look at that. Look at how quick this is. You guys see how snap? Oh my gosh. It just feels so good. I want to run it right now in a raid. So then we're going to shoot. So I'm going to go all the way through and I'm just going to fire without recoil control so you guys can see. And then I'm going to use recoil. I can't talk. Recoil control. So we're going to start right now. So with you literally using nothing and just shooting, look at how tight that grouping is. We have the initial shot right here down by the stomach, and then look at that thorax is completely covered. So if you were to even aim top of thorax and then just fire without recoil control, which you're probably still going to use, you're going to be getting right into the head spot, and it's just going to feel really nice. And you're not even going to have to shoot that many times because you're using M61, baby. Let's go. This thing is such a beast, man. if you want to hip fire. You guys see where these shots are landing? Like, we're hip firing right now, and look at how tight the spread still is. This thing's insane. That is the SR-25. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching another build. I hope that this shorter, more concise build is beneficial for some of you. If you guys want another longer build of the SR-25, let me know all of that stuff down in the comments. I'll definitely be reading them, responding, and making more videos. So last stats, 65 ergonomics, 75 vertical recoil at 185,697 rubles, and you're going to have this build. Other worthy mentions real quick before we leave is going to be, if you guys don't want to run the Fortis Shift, is the SI Cobra Tactical I've been recommending to a lot of people, and the SE5 Express Grip, which are both very, very nice for this build, giving you -1% vertical recoil and +9, and -2% vertical recoil and +8. If you guys like today's video, make sure you smash that like button. It goes a long way for the channel. And I really just want to say one more time before we close, I really do appreciate all the massive amounts of support. The stream has been growing like crazy. Like, literally numbers have quadrupled in the last 6 weeks. And YouTube is also growing as well. We're also going to start posting some YouTube shorts, so look out for those. We'll do some very, very quick small versions of the gun builds, and I have some other ideas as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. We're going to have plenty more builds coming, especially like these if you guys like them, and also the more in-depth ones like you guys like as well. Make sure to hit the bell if you guys want to be notified when videos go live, and I would love to see you guys by the stream. I stream every single day on Twitch except for Tuesday, 6 a.m. PST. Grab some caffeine, come hang out, or depending on where you're at in the world, maybe you're chilling after work. Either way, I'm be super excited to have you. I hope you guys are very blessed. I hope you have an amazing day or night depending on where you're at in the world. And I hope this gun is nice for you. Please, after you run it, let us know down in the comments what you guys think about the build. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Oh, this guy's right here. Good night. Sorry, boys. I'm looking for scavs.